Hi, my name's Jeremy Padfield and we farm on the Mendip Hills in Somerset. The food and farming industry is huge, but I want to focus a little bit about the two sectors that we work in, which is beef and arable production. We specialise in growing crops, so we grow primarily wheat, which is used for bread making and also animal feed. We grow barley, which is used for malting into beer as well as animal feed. Oilseed rape is also grown, which is made into cooking oils in margarines. We grow beans for human consumption as well as linseed, and also lots of grass to feed the beef animals. The role of farming in the UK, I believe, is really important, and I think that as a farmer I've got three main roles. First of all, to produce safe, affordable food. Secondly, to protect and enhance the countryside, which has been passed on by previous generations to us. And thirdly, to protect our natural resources, being soil, air and water. 57% of the land in the UK is used for agriculture, of around about 5.5% is used in crop production, growing crops. And in this country we currently are 60% self-sufficient. So what that means is, out of all the food that we eat, only 60% of it is produced in the UK, with the remainder being imported. So we have a huge, exciting opportunity to increase that. At the end of the Second World War, we were actually 80% self-sufficient, so we've got a long way to go.
Hi, my name is Emily. I am the tenant farmer here at Corsonfields Farm near Bath, a predominantly arable farm of 320 acres producing wheat, barley and quinoa, and we also have a 5-acre vineyard producing sparkling wine.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about the highlights and challenges of being a farmer. I think one of the most significant challenges that we have to deal with is the weather. It's extremes of rainfall or extremes of heat, but we have to learn to adapt and to work with nature. But I think the highlights far outweigh some of the challenges that we experience. For me, as an arable farmer, planting a crop and nurturing the seeds and the plants for almost 10 months, and then when harvest time comes, it's the opportunity to reap all the rewards of all the hard work that you put in. It could also mean rearing a young animal, whether that's a calf or a lamb, and seeing that animal grow into its later years. So, one of the most important challenges for the food and farming industry going forward is about food production and climate change. And the best way to illustrate that is using this, an apple. So if you can imagine that this is the world, okay? How much of the world's surface is land and how much is water? Well, 75% of the world's surface is water and 25% is actually land. So this is water, so we can't use that to plant anything. So what we're left with is 25% of the world's surface, which is where we can grow food. But no, we can't, because half of this area is taken up with schools, houses, flats, universities, colleges, industry. So what we're actually left with is 12.5%. But out of that 12.5%, we've got infrastructure, we've got roads, we've got railways. So we're now actually left with is just over 6%. But out of that 6%, some of that land isn't suitable for agricultural production. It could be too steep, it could be mountainous, it could be stony, in which case those crops can't grow. So what we're actually left with is around about 3% of the world's surface that we can grow crops on. But in fact, when we plant a seed, the seed normally grows in the top 6 inches of the soil. So if you take that 3%, we actually have to produce all that food in the top 6 inches of that 3%. Now, currently, around the world, there are 7.9 billion people, and by 2050, so in 30 years' time, they predict that there will be 9.7, so another 2 billion people. So it is a challenge, but equally, it's a huge opportunity for the food and farming industry going forward to feed all those people. So land management is crucial to all of us, not just as farmers, but also consumers. It's important to strike a healthy balance between growing food and environmental care. For example, on our farm, we take great pride in producing safe, affordable food, but with a balance to nature. So what we do is put 10% of our land into some form of conservation management, which in some way enhances the countryside and increases wildlife habitats. We also take out a number of measures that go to protect and enhance the soils. And I suppose in a way it's this fabric, delicate fabric of the countryside and the mosaic of fields around the country that does help to attract millions of people, millions of visitors to the countryside, generating in the region of 21 billion in tourism income a year. So let's talk a little bit about the personal qualities that we look for in team members. I believe the most important thing is having a good, positive attitude. Obviously it's important that you enjoy working outdoors, although there are obviously quite a few jobs that we do inside, the majority would be working outside. It can be hard work and occasionally long hours, but I believe that the self-satisfaction that you get from a job within the food and farming sector far outweighs the work that you put in. Having some office skills and smartphone technology is used quite a lot, but I understand that I'm talking to teenagers, and if you're anything like my children, there's not a problem navigating your way around the smartphone. And lastly, I think one of the most important things is a willingness to work on your own, but also as being part of a team.
So the qualities I'd look for somebody who wanted to work on the farm would be just a willingness to learn. Farming changes all the time. There is a diverse range of crops that are being developed, technologies that are being developed and different methods. And so somebody who's really interested in the process of farming is kind of key to me. And ability to ask questions and keep an open mind to learning is most important. Anyone can get into farming. I think as long as you have those key abilities, then that is the most important thing. Equally, it's not a male or female job. A lot more women in agriculture now. If you're on Instagram, you follow the hashtag FarmHer, FarmHer, and the hashtag Women in Ag, and you'll see that there are a lot of women coming into agriculture now. Previously it was quite male dominated, but it's not anymore. And I think as long as you are hardworking, able to ask questions and keep an open mind, then it's a career that can be really, really satisfying.
Well, there are many opportunities for young people within the food and farming industry. We specialise in the arable and beef sectors, but there are many other specialist areas. So if you're wishing to work with animals, there's obviously the dairy, the sheep, pig and poultry areas, and also there's fruit and veg production. I believe that the most exciting concept for the future within our industry is embracing the technology that is currently out there, but also what's coming on stream, especially with 5G being rolled out over the next few years. So we already practice precision farming and using GPS systems that automatically drive the tractors and their machines and the combine harvesters, as well as also using drone and satellite technology. We also use many apps, whether that's monitoring weather patterns, right through to recording crop and livestock data. But I think the part that I really love about my job is that no 2 days are the same. So this morning I could have got up and was checking my livestock, and then I could be then driving one of the machines that's behind me. And then this afternoon I might be doing some building work, or some engineering, or some mechanics, or even working in the office.
So the opportunities in agriculture just are so extensive and diverse. You can be anything from a farm worker to an agronomist to a crop scientist or a breeder. So there's many opportunities within agriculture. Viticulture is a really growing industry to be in. So vineyards are popping up and down the country all the time, and that's an industry we've really not seen before. Many farms are planting vineyards now, so you know, that's another exciting opportunity. Also, with those skill sets you can travel, and what a lovely gift that is to have. There will always be work for you if you get into agriculture, and people always need food, so it's a short way of always having work, and to me it's a very satisfying industry to be in. It's you know, always feel that it's an achievement, and the endless possibilities available to you.
So I'd like to set you guys a challenge task. It'll take 3 or 4 minutes of your time. So if you can go into the kitchen and pick out 5 items of food, and there's a couple of things you can do with each item. First of all, check the country of origin. So it should say where it's produced. If it says it's packed in the UK, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually been made in the UK. So look for where it's produced, and also look out for the red tractor, which is one of the main assurance standards in the UK that proves that that particular item of food is being produced in the United Kingdom. And then the second thing is look at the ingredients section of each of those 5 items and see what each product is actually made from, and I think you'll probably be quite surprised. Thank you.